Sam was a quiet boy who lived in a small town. He was 16 years old, and like many teenagers, he had dreams. But one of his biggest dreams was to learn English. He often heard people say that English was the key to a better future. It was the language of opportunities, new friendships, and the world outside his small town. Sam believed that if he could speak English, he could change his life. But there was a problem. Sam didn't know where to start. Every time he thought about learning English, he felt lost. He would see people speaking English on TV, in movies, and even on the internet. They made it look so easy, but for Sam, it was like trying to understand a secret code. He couldn't make sense of the words, the sounds, or the sentences. At school, Sam wasn't the best student in English class. He tried his best, but he often felt embarrassed when he had to read or speak in front of others. His classmates seemed to know more than he did, and this made him feel small. Sometimes, when the teacher asked him a question, his heart would beat fast, and his hands would get sweaty. Sam was afraid of making mistakes, and this fear kept him from trying. At home, Sam would sit in his room and think about how he could start learning English. He would look at his English textbooks, but the words seemed too hard, and the grammar rules were confusing. He tried to study on his own, but without a plan, it was like wandering in the dark. Every day, he would ask himself the same questions. How do I start? Where do I begin? What should I do? Sam also had some beliefs that made learning English even harder. He thought that to speak English well, he needed to be perfect. He believed that he had to know every word and every grammar rule before he could even start speaking. This belief held him back because every time he made a mistake, he felt like he was failing. He didn't understand that mistakes were a part of learning. Instead, he saw them as signs that he wasn't good enough. Sam also believed that English was only for people who were naturally good at languages. He thought that some people were just born with the ability to learn English easily, and that he wasn't one of them. This belief made him feel hopeless at times, like he was trying to do something impossible. Despite all these thoughts and feelings, Sam didn't give up. Deep inside, he still had hope. He wanted to learn English not just because it was important, but because he truly wanted to be able to connect with the world. He wanted to watch his favorite movies without subtitles, talk to people from other countries, and read books that were not available in his language. But for now, Sam was just a boy with a dream and a lot of questions. He didn't know how his journey would unfold or what challenges he would face. All he knew was that he wanted to start, even if he didn't know how. And so, with a mix of hope and uncertainty, Sam stood at the beginning of his journey, ready to face whatever came next. Sam's journey to learn English began with excitement, but quickly turned into a struggle. He knew he had to start somewhere, but every step felt like climbing a steep hill. One day, he decided to begin by learning some new words. He found an old English dictionary on his bookshelf and opened it. The pages were filled with words he didn't know, and each one seemed stranger than the last. He tried to memorize 5 words a day, but the more he tried, the more they slipped from his mind. Every evening, Sam would sit at his desk with his notebook, writing down words like incredible, determination, and achievement. But when he tried to use them in sentences, nothing made sense. It was as if the words were pieces of a puzzle that didn't fit together. He started to doubt himself. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to learn this, he thought. Sam's frustration grew as days turned into weeks. He tried different methods, hoping one would work. He bought a new grammar book, thinking that understanding the rules would make things easier. But the book was filled with complicated explanations and endless lists of tenses, verbs, and exceptions. The more Sam read, the more confused he became. He couldn't understand when to use has or have, or why go became went in the past. In his mind, English felt like a maze with no clear path. The lessons at school didn't help much either. The teacher spoke too fast, and Sam often found himself staring at the board, lost in a sea of words he couldn't understand. His classmates seemed to get it, but Sam felt like he was always one step behind. He rarely raised his hand, afraid of saying the wrong thing. He didn't want to be laughed at or feel embarrassed. Sam's struggles didn't just stay in the classroom. They followed him everywhere he went. On the bus, he would hear people speaking English and feel a pang of envy. He wanted to be like them, speaking freely and confidently. But instead, he kept his thoughts to himself, wondering why it was so hard for him when it seemed so easy for others. At home, his parents would ask him how his English studies were going. They knew he wanted to learn, and they tried to encourage him. But every time they asked, Sam would force a smile and say, "It's going okay," even though he felt like he was getting nowhere. He didn't want to disappoint them or admit how difficult it was. One night, after another frustrating day, Sam sat on his bed and stared at the ceiling. He felt tired and defeated. He had spent hours studying, but it felt like he hadn't learned anything. He wondered if he should just give up. Maybe English isn't for me, he thought. Maybe I'll never be able to learn it. But deep down, Sam knew he couldn't quit. Even though it was hard, he still wanted to try. He knew that learning English was important, not just for his future, but for his sense of self. He wanted to prove to himself that he could do it, even if it took time. And so, Sam decided to keep going, even though the path ahead was unclear. He didn't have all the answers, but he was willing to face the challenges one day at a time. He was determined to keep trying, no matter how many times he failed. Sam's journey was just beginning, and though the road was rough, he was ready to take the next step. Sam's determination to learn English was strong, but his journey was far from smooth. He tried different methods, hoping one would finally work, but many of his attempts led to dead ends. Each failure felt like a setback, making him question if he would ever get it right. One of Sam's first big mistakes was focusing only on grammar. He believed that if he could just master the grammar rules, he would become fluent. So he spent hours studying verb tenses, sentence structures, and punctuation marks. His notebook was filled with complex charts and endless notes on how to form sentences correctly. But when it came time to speak or write, his mind would go blank. Sam found himself overthinking every sentence. He would start to say something and then stop, worrying that he might make a mistake. The fear of being wrong was stronger than his desire to speak. He spent so much time trying to be perfect that he forgot the most important part of language: communication. English became more about rules and less about expression, and this made him feel stuck. Another misstep was Sam's reliance on difficult resources. He tried reading English newspapers and watching advanced videos on YouTube, thinking they would help him learn faster. But the articles were filled with complex words, and the speakers talked too quickly. Sam couldn't keep up. Instead of feeling motivated, he felt overwhelmed. The more he tried to push himself, the more he felt like he was drowning in a sea of unknown words. Sam also spent time memorizing long lists of vocabulary. He would write down dozens of new words each week, thinking that the more words he knew, the better his English would become. But memorization without understanding didn't work for Sam. He could remember the words for a day or two, but they quickly faded from his mind. He realized that knowing many words was useless if he didn't know how to use them in real-life situations. During this time, Sam's confidence took a hit. Every failed attempt felt like proof that he wasn't good enough. He would sit at his desk, staring at the pages of his books, feeling lost and frustrated. Sometimes he would even avoid studying altogether, afraid of facing another failure. "Why can't I get this right?" he would ask himself. "Maybe I'm just not meant to learn English." Sam's struggles affected more than just his studies. He began to feel isolated from his friends, who seemed to be doing well in their English classes. They would talk about their favorite English songs or movies, and Sam would stay quiet, feeling like an outsider. He wanted to join in, but his lack of confidence held him back. Despite his failed attempts, Sam couldn't ignore the small voice inside him that urged him to keep going. He started to realize that his approach was part of the problem. Learning English wasn't just about following rules or memorizing words. It was about understanding the language and using it in a way that made sense to him. He needed to change his mindset and try new ways of learning, even if it meant stepping out of his comfort zone. Sam knew he had made mistakes, but he was beginning to see them as lessons rather than failures. He understood that he needed to be patient with himself and find methods that worked for him, not just what everyone else was doing. With this new perspective, Sam felt a glimmer of hope. He wasn't there yet, but he was learning, slowly and surely, that every struggle was a step forward, not a step back. After a series of frustrating attempts, Sam felt like he was at a crossroads. He had made numerous mistakes and tried various methods, but he was still struggling to make progress. Just when he was about to give up, a small change in his routine led him to a new source of guidance that would change his journey. One day, while browsing the internet for new ways to improve his English, Sam stumbled upon a blog written by an English teacher named Mrs. Thompson. Her blog was filled with simple, practical tips for learning English. Her writing was clear and encouraging, and she talked about common struggles learners face. Sam was intrigued. He read through several posts and discovered that many other learners had experienced similar challenges. He wasn't alone. Feeling hopeful, Sam decided to reach out to Mrs. Thompson through the blog's contact form. He explained his struggles and asked for advice. To his surprise, Mrs. Thompson replied with a detailed message full of encouragement and suggestions. She advised Sam to start by focusing on practical language use rather than just grammar. She recommended watching English movies with subtitles, listening to podcasts, and joining language exchange groups. Sam took Mrs. Thompson's advice seriously. He started by watching movies with English subtitles. At first, he could barely understand the dialogue, but as he continued, he began to pick up on common phrases and expressions. The context of the movies helped him understand how words and sentences were used in real conversations. It was like learning English in a fun and engaging way. Next, Sam discovered a local language exchange group through a community center. He was nervous at first, but he decided to attend a meeting. At the group, he met other learners and native English speakers who were eager to practice their language skills. The sessions were informal and focused on conversation, which was exactly what Sam needed. He started to feel more comfortable speaking English, even if he made mistakes. The supportive environment made him realize that everyone was there to learn and improve. Sam also started listening to English podcasts recommended by Mrs. Thompson. The podcasts covered various topics, from everyday conversations to interesting stories. Listening to these podcasts helped Sam get used to different accents and speeds of speech. He began to understand spoken English better and felt more confident when listening. As Sam began to incorporate these new methods into his routine, he noticed gradual improvements. He found that learning English wasn't just about studying hard. It was about using the language in real-life situations. He felt more engaged and motivated, and his confidence started to grow. One day, while chatting with a friend in the language exchange group, Sam realized how much he had improved. He could hold a conversation without feeling anxious or lost. The friend complimented him on his progress, which made Sam feel proud of his achievements. Sam's experience with finding guidance taught him an important lesson. Seeking help and using practical methods made a significant difference. He had been trying to learn English in isolation, but connecting with others and finding the right resources gave him a new perspective. Sam learned that success in learning English was not about avoiding mistakes, but about embracing them and using them to grow. With this newfound understanding, Sam felt more prepared to continue his journey. He knew that there would still be challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them with the support and tools he had found. His path to learning English was becoming clearer, and he was excited to see where it would lead him. With newfound confidence and effective methods in place, Sam was eager to continue his English learning journey. But even with his progress, challenges still arose, and he had to face them head-on. One of the biggest challenges Sam encountered was speaking English in public. While he felt more comfortable in the language exchange group and during one-on-one conversations, speaking in front of a group made him anxious. During a community event, Sam was invited to give a short speech about his experience learning English. Although he was excited, the thought of speaking in front of many people made his heart race. In preparation, Sam wrote a simple speech and practiced it several times at home. He recorded himself speaking and listened to the recordings to identify areas where he could improve. Despite his preparation, he still felt nervous. The night before the event, he had trouble sleeping, worried about making mistakes and forgetting his lines. When the day of the event arrived, Sam took deep breaths and reminded himself of the progress he had made. As he stood in front of the audience, he could feel his palms sweating, but he focused on the message he wanted to share, rather than on his fear. He spoke slowly and clearly, remembering to use the techniques he had learned from Mrs. Thompson's blog and his language exchange group. Although he stumbled over a few words and had to pause to gather his thoughts, Sam managed to complete his speech. When he finished, he received applause and positive feedback from the audience. The experience was both nerve-wracking and exhilarating. It showed Sam that he could overcome his fear of public speaking by focusing on his message and using the skills he had developed. Another challenge Sam faced was understanding different accents. He had been listening to podcasts and watching movies, but he still struggled with accents that were unfamiliar to him. During one of his language exchange sessions, he met a native English speaker from a different country whose accent was difficult for Sam to understand. He felt frustrated as he tried to follow the conversation, often having to ask for clarification. Determined to improve, Sam decided to work on this challenge by exposing himself to a variety of accents. He started listening to international news channels, watching documentaries, and joining online forums where people from different countries discussed various topics. Over time, his ability to understand different accents improved. He learned that patience and consistent practice were key to adapting to different speaking styles. In addition to these challenges, Sam also faced moments of self-doubt. Despite his progress, he occasionally questioned his abilities and wondered if he was moving fast enough. During these moments, he reminded himself of the progress he had made and the support he had received. He kept a journal where he noted his achievements, big and small, which helped him stay motivated. Sam's journey through these challenges taught him the importance of resilience and perseverance. He realized that setbacks were a natural part of learning, and that overcoming them was a crucial part of growth. Each challenge he faced helped him build confidence and improve his skills. As he continued to work on his English, Sam started to see the benefits of his hard work. He could participate in conversations more comfortably, understand a wider range of accents, and express himself more clearly. His confidence grew with each success, and he felt proud of how far he had come. Sam's journey was far from over, but he had learned valuable lessons along the way. He understood that learning a language was not just about mastering grammar and vocabulary, but also about overcoming fears, adapting to new situations, and continually improving. With each challenge he faced, Sam grew stronger and more capable, ready to tackle whatever came next. As Sam continued to overcome challenges and improve his English, he began to see the fruits of his hard work. His journey had been filled with struggles, missteps, and growth, and he was now ready to reflect on his progress and embrace his achievements. One day, Sam received an invitation to participate in a community workshop where he would speak about his experiences learning English. This was a significant moment for him, as he had previously struggled with public speaking. Now, he felt more confident and prepared. He accepted the invitation with excitement, eager to share his story and inspire others. In preparation for the workshop, Sam wrote a speech that highlighted his journey, the challenges he faced, and the strategies that helped him succeed. He included personal anecdotes about his initial struggles, the guidance he received, and how he overcame his fears. As he rehearsed his speech, he felt a sense of pride in how far he had come. His voice was steadier, and his words flowed more naturally. On the day of the workshop, Sam stood in front of an audience of fellow learners, teachers, and community members. He took a deep breath and began his speech. As he spoke, he saw nods of understanding and smiles of encouragement from the audience. Sam shared how important it was to find the right guidance, to practice consistently, and to embrace challenges as part of the learning process. He spoke about the joy of seeing his English skills improve and the confidence he had gained. When he finished, the audience applauded, and several people approached him to express their appreciation. Many shared their own struggles and thanked Sam for his inspiring words. The experience was both fulfilling and emotional. Sam felt a deep sense of accomplishment, knowing that his journey had not only transformed his own life, but had also touched others. As Sam reflected on his journey, he realized that learning English had taught him much more than just a new language. It had given him valuable life lessons about perseverance, self-belief, and the importance of seeking help when needed. He had learned that progress was not always linear, and that every setback was an opportunity for growth. Looking back, Sam appreciated the role of his support system. His family, Mrs. Thompson's guidance, and his language exchange partners. Each of them had played a crucial role in his success. He also recognized the importance of staying motivated and being patient with himself. Learning English had become more than just a goal. It had become a journey of self-discovery and personal development. Sam continued to use his English skills in his daily life, both personally and professionally. He found new opportunities for growth and communication that he had never imagined before. His confidence allowed him to explore new interests, travel to English-speaking countries, and connect with people from around the world. The journey of learning English had its ups and downs, but Sam had emerged stronger and more capable. He had learned that success wasn't just about mastering a language, but about overcoming challenges, embracing growth, and never giving up on oneself. Sam's story was a testament to the power of perseverance and the rewards of hard work. As he moved forward, Sam knew that his journey with English was ongoing. There would always be new things to learn and new ways to improve. But with the experience he had gained, he felt prepared for whatever lay ahead. Sam's journey from struggle to success was a reminder that with determination and the right support, anything is possible.